Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the full moon in Sidereal Libra releasing workshop for April 29th, 2018. Welcome. My name is Phaedra, and I'm the astrologer and artist of 𝗙𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀 Astrology, and I use Western Sidereal Astrology to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and to remember why you came. And my aim with these broadcasts is always to help provide guidance on how we can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect our lives in a positive way. And so welcome to the broadcast this evening. It's good to have you on. If you can hear me and see me okay, just let me know in the comments. With the lunar live streams, our format typically is we introduce the newer full moon. I'll run through just quickly by rising sign what house this particular full moon is falling in for you and what the themes of that house are. That way you'll have the opportunity to jot down or make notes as we go through. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the archetype of Libra and Libran themes and how we can use Libra to help us let go of things that aren't serving us any longer this evening with our releasing practice. And so if you'll just grab your pen and paper, we'll dive right in. But I am going to refresh my feed just briefly, and hopefully our signal holds for this. So bear with me, hold on to your hats here. I'm going to refresh my browser window. We've had kind of wet, rainy spring weather, and sometimes that interferes with our ability to broadcast. And sometimes, I think, having the live stream open in another tab when I refresh my browser, sometimes that will cause, I think, some hiccups too, but we'll dive right in. So grab your pen and paper. I'm going to start out with just a kind of a little bit of commentary about the full moon in Libra. We talked a little bit in the April overview and short reports. We talked a little bit about how this full moon in Libra is a time for meeting our obligations to others in a spirit of generosity and geniality, and that this is a time for being a good partner. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind as we go through the evening and as we go through the next couple of weeks. But if you have Aries rising, this is a 7th house full moon for you. So partnership, marriage and business partnership both fall under the 7th house. Your relationships with other people in general, and also what we reject about ourselves, and that is the descendant specifically pointing to that particular piece of the chart. If you have Taurus rising, this is a 6th house full moon for you. So work, health, pets, daily routines, employees if you have them. It's also a good time to make changes to your habits if you have any habits that you'd like to let go of. So Taurus, consider using this 6th house full moon for that. If you have Gemini rising, like I do, this will be a 5th house full moon. So creativity, children, romance, and true love. Not marriage, remember, that falls under the 7th house. So that's an Aries theme for this evening. But activities of the heart, which are ruled by Leo, basically. So pleasurable activities, sports, risk-taking, and gambling. Also your hobbies are 5th house. And then for Cancer rising, this is a 4th house full moon for you. So home, family, real estate, later life, and parents are the themes of the 4th house. And then if you have Leo rising, this is a 3rd house full moon for you. So communication, travel over short distances, childhood education, siblings and neighbors, your immediate environment, those all fall under the 3rd house. And then for Virgo, this is a 2nd house full moon for you. So wealth, possessions, movable assets, money that you earn. And then Libra, 1st house. So personality and identity, your self-expression, the physical body and your appearance, those are all 1st house themes. And then for Scorpio, 12th house. So privacy, seclusion, spirituality, the unconscious mind, things that we don't see or acknowledge about ourselves. And then Sagittarius, if you have Sagittarius rising, excuse me, this is an 11th house full moon for you. So friends, organizations, hopes, and dreams, which is one of my favorite themes to work with. And then for Capricorn, this is a 10th house full moon for you. So career, awards, recognition, achievement, status, basically, and your reputation. And then Aquarius rising, we have 9th house full moon. So higher education, long distance travel, long distance communication as well. So things like publishing and broadcasting. And then also philosophy, law, religion. And then 8th house is our Pisces rising. If you have Pisces rising, it's an 8th house full moon for you. So other people's resources fall under the 8th house. Investment earnings, insurance, taxes, these sorts of things. Inheritance and bonus or commission income will also fall under the 8th house. And then, of course, there's also some more occult themes like death, rebirth, transformation. And so the 8th house can be an interesting house to work with in terms of self-transformation. And so these are the themes that you'll be working with primarily by rising sign. And if you're joining us late or you're not sure which particular house this is for you and what the themes of that house are, just let me know what your sidereal rising sign is in the comments, and I will recap for you what house that is for you and what the themes of that house are. And then we'll talk a little bit about Libra archetypes and Libra themes. So Libra is the scales. It's an archetype of balance and equilibrium, which naturally results in harmony. Okay. Libra recognizes that everything that exists on a continuum, and that you can't pick up one end of the stick without also picking up the other. Okay, so this is a fundamental universal truth to Libra. That everything is polarity, everything is duality, yin and yang, and that each side of the pole, each part of the duality is what gives the other part meaning. So if you take away evil, good loses its meaning. Hi Carol, it's good to have you on. Thanks for joining me. So we were just talking a little bit about Libran archetypes. And so if you happen to know what house this is falling in for you by rising sign, Carol, that's perfect. If not, if you want me to recap that, just let me know what your sidereal rising sign is in the comments. But we're talking about how Libra is the sign of balance, that it represents duality and polarity and everything that exists on a continuum. And that each side of this, each end of this continuum is what it gives the opposite end its meaning, right? And so, in a sense, Libra, because it is reflective of our relationships, of the opposite, of the other, it's also about commitment. But it's about commitment to a partner, commitment to that other, rather than commitment to us. Okay? Self-commitment would fall under the first house. And so tonight, when we're thinking about what we can let go of in terms of things that aren't serving us any longer, one of the things that I want you to kind of think about, one prompt that I want you to kind of ponder as you're getting ready to write this down, where are you avoiding commitment? That can be a big one for some of us, right? Where are you afraid of making a wrong choice, or suffering from paralysis by analysis? Where do you repeatedly play devil's advocate? Those are clues. And so tonight's full moon, or today's full moon, this is an opportunity for you to release your fear of making a wrong choice, or your fear of commitment, okay? Or in some cases, your fear of missing out, of, what would have been if you'd made the other choice, right? Sometimes that's one of the Libran themes that we face. What's keeping you from balance and harmony in your life, especially in the part of your life that Libra occupies in your natal chart? And what can you let go of or release that would allow you to more easily find balance or peace? Those are some things to consider. Okay. And then finally, are you being superficial or overly concerned with appearances? Is there some sort of attachment that you can let go of, that you have some sort of attachment to what other people think about you, especially in that particular house? And you know, it's none of your business what they think anyway, right? And so if that's what's going on for you, tonight's a perfect opportunity to let that go. So can you become, in the words of Stephen Forrest, bothered by nothing, offended by nothing, and shocked by nothing? That's your challenge. Okay? So just to recap, grab your pen and paper, some prompts for you to consider as you decide what it is you're going to release in tonight's full moon releasing practice. Where are you avoiding commitment? Where are you afraid of making a wrong choice or suffering from analysis paralysis? Where do you repeatedly play devil's advocate? You have an opportunity maybe to release fear in that part of your life. What's keeping you from balance and harmony? And what can you let go of or release that would allow you to find that balance and that peace more easily? And then, is there an opportunity for you to let go of what other people think about you regarding this experience? So I'll leave you to it with your pen and paper. We'll give you just one moment to collect your thoughts and write down what it is you'd like to let go of for tonight's full moon in Sidereal Libra releasing practice. We'll just take a moment here. Take just one more moment. Kind of excited about mine. I don't know about the rest of you. I hope you're excited about yours too. Let me get my bowl just quickly for the final stage of our releasing practice. So for me, I have Gemini rising, and so for me this is a 5th house opportunity, and those of you who've been in the group for some time are aware that I am also an artist, and so a lot of my non-working time, that's what I would prefer to be focusing my energy on. And I chose to address that tonight in the form of the prompt, what's keeping me from balance and harmony in my creative life? Am I avoiding commitment there? Possibly, yes. There are some creative projects that I have in process that I could be finishing. I have many ready to go that I could start. But one of the things that I feel like holds me back from doing that is having a proper space, a creative space, a studio space to work where I don't have to worry about making a mess, where I don't have to worry about how long it's going to take to complete a project and whether I can finish it by the end of the day and wrap up and clean up. And so I chose to write out that I release stagnation in my creative life, and stagnation in terms of my creative space, my workspace, and I invite the time needed to make repairs to the shop where my studio will be, so that I can have sufficient studio space for creative time. And this is kind of an exciting thing to kind of shift on, to let go of stagnation on, and to move past this kind of bottled up energy on, because I was recently gifted by my neighbor some of the wood that I'll need to make repairs to our shop space so that I can convert a portion of that into my studio. And so I'm really excited that this summer I'll have the opportunity to get started on that. And so with a little luck, by our next new moon in Libra, which would be about 6 months from now, when it would be appropriate for me to start a new creative project, hopefully I'll have my space all ready to go so that I can start my new creative projects in a new and dedicated studio space. That'd be really fantastic. That's what I'm looking forward to, and I hope you've come up with something fantastic for your own releasing practice. And if you have something that you'd like to share in the comments, something that you'd like to move past or let go of, or that you feel has been holding you back, that you're moved to release with tonight's practice, let us know in the comments. And whatever it is, take a moment like you've done to write it down on your paper and spend a moment to thank it, whatever it is, for the lesson that it brought to you. So what I want you to do is, as you're doing your releasing practice, state aloud to the universe, to God, to what have you, your intention to release it from your life and from your experience with love and with gratitude, okay? So you'll just say something simple like, I release this stagnation in my creative life and my creative space, which is no longer serving me, which is holding me back from making the creative things that I want to make in my life. And I release it with love. I appreciate this lack of motion, this stagnation that has brought me the opportunity to move forward in other areas of my life. But I'm ready for this to move on so that I can begin new creative projects when the time is right. And so I release you with love. And so what you'll do is you'll take your paper and you can burn it in a fire-safe place. So if you have a fireplace or a fire pit at your home, if you have a barbecue grill, or even adequate space in your kitchen sink, do it near a source of water, or keep a fire extinguisher handy. Be safe when you burn what it is that you're releasing in your full moon releasing practice, or you can tear it up too. Tearing it up will serve the same purpose. I do encourage you, though, if you burn it, to make sure that it burns completely. Okay, and so that's what we're doing today with our releasing workshop here. It's kind of exciting. I love the releasing practices because they feel so liberating, I think, in a sense. Kind of light and freeing when it's over. So I wanted to let you know the May overview plus short reports. Hi, Jonna. It's good to have you on. Thanks for joining us. The May overview plus short reports are available. They're on the website right now. So if you are a subscriber, if you have advanced access to the horoscopes, you can log on right now and read that. So if you're a Skywatcher level or Stargazer level subscriber, Jonna says, I'm late to the party again. That's okay. We're still on, and I'm still trying to burn my little pieces. So here's what I'll do. You know, I'm sure, Jonna, what your sidereal rising sign is by now. So grab your pen and paper, and while I'm trying to burn up these last few pieces, I will recap what the prompts are for you for the Libra releasing. So we were talking about the Libra archetype being about the scales. It's an archetype of balance and equilibrium. And so we were talking about how that equilibrium naturally results in a kind of harmony. And that Libra recognizes that everything that exists on a continuum, that you can't pick up one end of the stick without picking up the other, right? And so everything is polarity and duality. It's yin and yang, and each gives meaning to the other, right? So if you take away evil, good loses its meaning. And so in a sense, because Libra represents our opposite, our polarity, which is other, right? Partnership and marriage, that it also represents commitment. And that is our commitment to that partner, our commitment to the other, or the not us part of the equation. And so the prompts that we were going over for tonight's releasing practice are, where are you avoiding commitment? Libra is your rising. Oh, that's exciting. So this is going to be first house. So it's going to, of course, have to do with like self-expression and appearance in your physical body, your personality. the role that you play in the world. So are you avoiding commitment to stepping into a role, Jana? Or are you avoiding commitment to your own self-expression? Some things to consider. Are you afraid of making a wrong choice or suffering from paralysis by analysis? Is there a behavior where you catch yourself repeatedly playing devil's advocate? Okay, so this can indicate an indecision, a fear of making a choice. And tonight is an opportunity to release your fear. And so I want you to consider maybe even what's keeping you from balance and harmony in that part of your life, especially, you know, where Libra is your rising sign. What can you let go of or release that would allow you to better find balance, to better find peace? And the final one, this is the the fun one, and maybe even so with Libra being your first house, because that is related to appearance. And don't take this the wrong way. I didn't write this with that in mind. But are you being superficial in the sense that, are you being overly concerned with appearances? Do you find that you have an attachment to what other people think of you? So that can be a very Libran theme. Jana says yes to all of those questions. I love the term analysis paralysis. It's good. Yes, it's going to be a good release. It absolutely is going to be a good release. I just released all of mine. You're just catching me at the tail end of burning it all to ash. But about that, being concerned with appearances or worried about what other people think of you, right? I mean, what's the saying? That it's none of your business anyway, what they think of you, right? So if you can try to kind of latch onto that concept and internalize it as much as possible, who cares? What other people think of you is about them and not about you at all, right? So if that's a helpful way to kind of let go of that worry, right? Because you don't need to carry that around with you. That's them. That's their business. You don't need to carry their junk. And so I was quoting the words of Stephen Forrest, this is the ultimate goal. Can you become, in his words, bothered by nothing, offended by nothing, and shocked by nothing? So kind of, like that immovable, you're like the mountain, right? In that sense. And so take a few moments, Jana, to write out what it is you want to let go of with those prompts in mind. Okay, and I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Here's my ash. Burned up pretty good when I finally got the last pieces going. And then for anyone else who's still on, I'll just go over a few announcements while Jana is writing out what she's ready to release. And if you want to share anything when you're done, Jana, let us know in the comments. So the May overview and short reports, as I was saying, that's available on the website now. So if you are a contributor at the Sky Watcher or Stargazer level, you get access to reading those. And then keep an eye out. I will email you here in the next couple of days when the full horoscopes by sign are available. Jana says, this is hilarious because I just posted about this topic of what people think elsewhere. You might have seen it. I might have. It is kind of funny that that happened to be the theme for the Libra full moon. I was kind of chuckling because that did come to mind when I was putting together the notes for tonight's releasing practice. And Libra is very much that way, right? She, as an energy of the zodiac, Libra kind of has that reputation for being the flirt, right? And in a way very social, because it's about the back and forth of two people engaged and that exchange of energy. And so it's kind of funny that those themes happen to resonate in other places at the same time as the full moon. But like I was saying, yes, watch for, in the next couple of days, I'll email everyone when the full horoscopes by sign are available for May. I don't know how soon, maybe late tomorrow, maybe very early the next day. We'll see. So wish me luck on that. And then too, if you haven't subscribed to the new YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And feel free to like and share our videos on the channel. If you know someone that you think would be interested in participating or would get something out of one of the videos, feel free to share. I know that if you're here in the Sidereal Insights Astrology Facebook group, you can't necessarily share outside of the group, but you can share videos off of the YouTube channel, or you can share them off of the website where I have them archived. So if you know anyone and you want to share one of our videos with them, please feel free to do that, even though it's difficult to share directly from this group. But thanks everyone for joining me. John, it was good to have you on. Thanks. I'm glad you could make it. I know that sometimes you're not able to come right when we start at 7:30, so I'm glad that you were able to join us while we were still on the broadcast. And do take some time for yourself, even afterwards, after you're done with your releasing practice. Just take a few moments for yourself to sit in silence. Take a few moments to meditate. If you like to meditate, that can be a wonderful way to end your practice, or just spend a few moments in quiet contemplation and enjoy your evening. And we'll get ready for our next new moon in 2 weeks. Is our second new moon in Aries for this year. So this is kind of a fun opportunity. If you did not take the opportunity to take action at the new moon in Aries on the 15th of April at mid-month, you'll get a second chance coming up here in mid-May. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you in about a week on our next Sidereal Insights Astro Update. John says, oh, thank you. I'm glad I made it, and thanks for catching me up. Oh yes, it was wonderful to have you. It's good to have you on, Lou. If you're just joining us, you'll want to catch the replay, and it's not too late to put this practice into effect. We just had our very enjoyable full moon releasing practice for the sign of Sidereal Libra. Excuse me, our releasing practice for this month, and so definitely catch the replay. You'll enjoy it. It's very refreshing and very liberating, and like I said, we'll see you in about a week, so catch us next time.